Happy Monday and welcome into the CHGO Blackhawks Podcast. I'm Jay Zawaski with Greg Boysen and Mario Tirabassi. Law is here.
What's up?
Reading emails, sliding sliders, buttoning buttons,
Button
and
mashing.
recording things.
Hopefully I'm not unbuttoning buttons.
There we go. No unbuttoning until the show's over.
Okay.
That's what we're going to do. Thanks for being with us. We appreciate you all. See a lot of familiar faces there in the chat. Make sure you get familiar with smashing that like button as soon as you tune into our show. Make sure you're subscribed to the page as well. And if you're listening on the old podcast app, make sure you are following or subscribed there. Leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. We would really, really appreciate that. So before we get started with the mailbag, which is bursting today, just a massive,
big bag,
Hard time carrying it.
sack.
Yeah, it's really tough.
It's a lot. We have some news on the Blackhawks front, as well as the Bulls and White Sox. October 1st, the NBC Sports Chicago contract expires with the Hawks, the Bulls, and the Sox. And today it was announced that the Chicago Sports Network, CHSN, will launch in October to deliver the Hawks, Bulls, and Sox games to the widest audience possible. That's what they're saying. So we don't know a ton more about where it will be available, but in the press release, they mentioned that the leadership that is running this thing with Standard Media, a Nashville-based company, has a lot of experience negotiating streaming deals. So we'll see. I just remember how rocky things were for Marquee Sports Network. Like did not go smooth, and a lot of places didn't have it.
Carriage rights.
Yeah.
What was the term? Wheelbarrows of cash?
Wheelbarrows full of money. Yes, that's what Marquee was going to bring the Cubs, so they can trade for Michael Bush instead of signing a established. That's a different show for a different day. Sorry. So yeah, I mean, look, get them to everybody. YouTube TV, Hulu, Xfinity, whatever.
Yeah.
Don't make people have to change their service to get your product. That would be my best advice to the Hawks, Bulls, and Sox.
Yeah.
And that's
Make it available. It looks like they're going to have their studios will be where the stadium studios were in the United Center, and they'll have a studio at Guaranteed Rate Field.
Yep.
That's cool.
Yeah.
cool.
I
You're
mean,
close to your
you already have the
players. That's
space.
great.
you're right there.
You can take over 4 or 5 sections at Sox Park, and no one will even notice. Where's the why? And then one thing, though. I'm going to be watching you guys. CHSN. Careful with that logo. Careful with that logo.
Yeah. Maybe John Greenberg will call it Chisin.
Yeah, I just think it's funny that
Jason?
they're like
chosen.
It's funny they had to add the H because I literally still call the current channel
I was gonna
CSN
say
half the time.
CSN, yeah, it's still burned in my brain a
Yeah.
little.
Ghost
bit.
of David Crosby would sue you if you went with CSN.
Yeah, but not Neil Young.
CHSN. Great.
Yeah, and it sounds like, with all the over-the-air, available on cable, streaming services, like, they're saying that it'll be available to a lot of people. So whether you still got cable, or you rely on streaming services, or you, for some reason, want to go over the air with your TV watching, there should be a way for you to catch those games. And then out of market, I know a lot of people were saying, oh, does this get rid of out of market? No, those ESPN Plus, I believe, is still going to operate the same way.
Yeah.
So unless there's any, national games, you should still be able to get 70-plus games a year
And
out of market.
Somebody had asked on Twitter what happens on nights that the Bulls and Blackhawks play at the same
That's
time.
a good question.
I would imagine it would be the same as
Yeah.
NBC. They'll have
Make
a plus.
Yeah.
Where, I mean, you kind of have to. You can't choose one or the other.
Right, yeah. Well, you can, but
You can, but it would
You'll
go
piss
poorly.
off-
Yeah,
you'll piss
it
off
will
a lot
go
of people.
poorly for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Does Marquee have a second?
Well, they only
They
show
only
the
have
Cubs
one
game.
team.
No, but they show Sky games as well.
Yeah, but they preempt them for Cubs games.
And I think they only have a handful of Sky games. I don't think it's every Sky
I was
game.
actually watching the other day when I
Yeah.
went into extra innings, and they joined the Sky game already in progress for the Cubs. But when the
Joined in
Cubs own the
progress.
network, they can do whatever they
Sure.
want.
Yeah.
Cubs are still number one. there.
So I would assume that they would have a plus. They'll probably slide in on those networks that are getting rid of NBC and give them that extra. I don't know. That would be my guess.
yeah.
And no, I
questions?
don't think this means there's going to be a change in the broadcast team.
No.
Those
I don't think
contracts
so.
are signed with the team, not the network. So,
And they signed those knowing the NBC Sports Chicago deal was
Right.
expiring.
So don't expect a broadcast team change at all.
Michael Evans asks, and I kind of have the same question in my mind. Not sure how I feel about the Hawks being associated with Reinsdorf.
They are with the United Center.
yeah, I was gonna say.
They've been
That's where
joined
they
at the hip for
play.
years.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So it's-
Wirtz and Reinsdorf co-own the United Center, and they've Sox, Blackhawks, and Bulls have all been tied together for a long time. So
Yeah.
it's
I mean, would you have liked to see him go to Marquee to almost be like the
If
winter?
that was an option,
I mean,
maybe.
it's already that. So because it's already established, and I already know where I can get
But then
it.
Marquee would have to get one of those plus channels because you will
Right.
have
Yeah.
times where the Cubs and Hawks are on at
Sure.
the same time. And I don't think you can get away with preempting a Hawks game.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Surprised
you
you
could.
get away of preempting a Sky game. So, yeah, I mean, yeah,
I'm just-
they've been associated with him since the United Center was
Yeah.
built.
Sure.
I will
The
say
Chicago
though,
Stadium days.
I
know.
am
What do we
glad-
want him to be?
Wow.
as long as he's only
I don't think it matters.
as long as he's only like owns the TV network and doesn't get to start making decisions with the
Yeah,
team
I
itself,
don't
I'm
think
fine.
I don't think he will. Yeah, I'm just glad that it's not a Blackhawks only like channel or service because I think with Marquee, the way that they did that, it's like you can get away with it with the Cubs, but you got a lot of people who are Cubs plus fans,
Right.
And if you were to say like, okay, one network is Cubs, one network is Blackhawks, and then you got Bulls and Sox on a separate. It's just you're splitting it up all too much across the city,
Yeah.
and then you're maybe asking people to pay extra for individual teams. It would have just been. Watching sports shouldn't be as expensive and difficult as it has become.
Well, it's starting to get to the point now where like
Cable's coming back.
it's come
now.
back around because I am an Xfinity subscriber because it is now cheaper than me having to pay for internet and have Hulu plus like Hulu Live is like $80 and then my
Yeah.
internet's $100, so I might as well bundle it and save $60 a month
Yeah.
to have cable and internet.
Yeah.
I never
it's-
left Xfinity as much as I despise most of it.
Yeah.
I just feel I'm lazy, so like I just
Hey, puts all your streaming apps in one button.
yeah.
And I just use, instead of paying for, and this is an option for people, by the way, if you don't know, instead of paying for $15 a month for the cable box, if you have a Roku stick or an Apple TV box or whatever,
You could use
you just use the
Xfinity.
Xfinity Stream app
Right.
and watch live TV from there. It's great. That's what we do.
That's what we use for the extra TVs. We have the one
Oh.
box. Yeah.
Did not know that.
We have
Yeah.
we have the one box for like the main room and the living room. I wanted to ensure that like
Yeah.
Yeah, at least had one.
you had one, and
Yeah.
then all the other TVs in the house we use it off the Fire Stick. It works fine.
Yep.
I just want to say that no matter what ends up happening to this whole deal, is I just hope that all the people inside, both the current NBC Chicago and the current stadium staff, are actually treated right and taken care of, and that everyone can keep their jobs.
Yeah.
I mean,
I would-
it's
Agreed,
for us to
but
talent, I
also-
feel like it's not going to change. But
I agree, but also Lawrence, you and I have
Yeah,
history, so
I know.
we'll hope for the best.
Well, I just like people that still work there. I have friends
Yeah,
inside
yeah.
both.
I would
Yeah.
imagine. I would hope in a relatively smooth transition. Basically, we're going to offer you this at the new place. This is what you had at the old place.
Yeah.
This is what we're going to give you.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously, that doesn't always work out that way.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
With a new startup network, they may look to cut some corners. So who knows? But yeah, I'm sure it's going to be a little nerve-wracking for those employees at NBC Sports for the next.
And
few
by the way,
months.
I mean, like, you know how much we were just talking about Marquee having all these issues as they're starting up. They had a lot longer time to deal with this with
Right.
one team.
Yeah, they got.
Yeah.
there's also
It's October 1st.
I think that they might have overplayed their hands, though. They might have thought, like, look how desirable our product is. We're the Cubs and we're really good. And they're like, eh.
I mean, I just
There's
there's a lot of shit to
mistakes.
do.
There's mistakes to be learned from, and hope you don't repeat those mistakes.
The runway is not very long for this current new
Four
network.
months.
Yeah.
Be tough.
We'll see. At least they're starting with preseason games, so they can work out the kinks with those
Right.
ones.
So by Christmas, we'll be in.
Yeah.
We'll be good to go.
When I saw Windy City Hockey asked, are all Hawks preseason games going to be broadcast? And there was a little bit of confusion in the Athletic article where it said that this new deal doesn't start until the Hawks preseason's underway. That's true, but you're still going to have NBC Sports Chicago until October 1st. So I think they're just going to flip the switch or whatever. Like, they're not going to.
Yeah,
Is NBC Sports Chicago not going to carry the first
I
however
think
many preseason games?
it would make sense that if you have the crew that you're using from NBC Chicago that's going to come over to the new network, you would just have them work under the NBC Sports Chicago banner.
I mean,
and then October 1st, the same people are
would
working
think.
those games,
that is
and
one
then
of
the
the
banner
things
will
I'm
change.
wondering. Like, how do you are you hiring people from NBC Chicago, but like making them work at NBC Chicago until September 30th?
I don't know.
I mean, that's probably when their contracts are up too.
Yeah.
By the way,
I don't
there's
know.
a lot of people that are like Alan K, very upset with the new network. It's partly owned by Jerry. Jerry partly owns NBC Sports Chicago too.
Right.
Like,
Jerry
it's
Reinsdorf.
nothing.
He has a lot of
very
money.
little is going to change.
Jerry
here.
Reinsdorf
Like, it's-
partly owns a lot of things you probably have no idea he
Yeah.
owns.
Yeah, like I don't think your experience, aside from it's not channel 200 or whatever anymore, it's going to change to a different channel. I think the experience is going to be very much the same.
Yeah, I don't expect it much of a
And,
difference.
and how much NBC Sports Chicago do you watch when there's not a game on?
Zero.
Beer money. Support
Is
Luke.
that even on anymore?
No, I'm just
I don't know. Ever since somebody took that host away from that show, I don't watch it anymore.
That's true.
I followed the host, literally.
And Gary's asking, is NBC Sports going to keep their other coverage? Like, what other
I
coverage
think
do
it's
they
Nothing
have?
at that
I bet
point.
they just
It's
fold.
gonna, they're
It
going to
sounds
get
like they're just gonna
all
fold.
these like RSNs are slowly but surely going away.
NBC Sports going to keep their other coverage.
I don't know.
Chicago or just NBC Sports?
I mean, I
NBC
thought-
Sports
isn't-
is still
Well, yes.
around, but it's like
Like
for the major
NBC,
events like the
Peacock,
Olympics.
Yes, they'll be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
horse racing. What
that
else is
stuff.
still on there?
Yeah. Do they have the Indy 500? Was that on NBC?
Was it? No, it was on ESPN, I think.
ESPN? All right.
Yeah.
Indy is on EBC, ESPN.
Yeah, ESP, yeah.
Shows what I know.
Anyways, that's been
It's a crazy
Industry
Monday
talk.
morning. Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
First
Industry
segment.
talk.
Good times.
there we go.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, I would just say, though, just to summarize, like, your experience as a viewer is not going to change that much, assuming they make it available where it needs to be made available.
Yeah.
Like, it's,
Assuming everything is followed up upon that
Yeah.
they said, should be fine.
Yes.
Yep.
Hey, you know what is reliable? It's
What?
there for you every day, and there's no issues ever. The Circa Sportsbook app.
True.
Sure.
Their games will strive to be at a minus 110 split. Unlike those other sports books that may use minus 115 or minus 120. What does that mean? That means more money for you to win. Circuit does not limit players based on their winnings. Every player has the same limits, unlike other books who try to start to limit players who win a lot. I don't know who those people are, but apparently they exist. We encourage bettors to download and explore all the betting apps available, compare the lines from each sportsbook, and then you're going to go right back to the Circa Sportsbook app. Plus, what puts them over their top is the awesome customer service. There are real people behind the Circa Sports brand who resolve issues in a timely fashion, unlike other sports books who use the chatbots.
Ooh.
The goalie interference reviews of the bot world. All aspects of the app are being run by the same team that runs the beautiful, gorgeous Circa Sportsbook at the Circa Resort and Casino in Las Vegas. So download the Circa Sports Illinois app at circasports.com/Illinois-app to sign up today. Also be on the lookout for Circa events, watch parties, and tailgates. They're with us for all Cubs 120 Friday 120 Clubs games.
Mm-hmm.
We appreciate their sponsorship of that as well. So check them out. And if you or someone you know may have a problem with gambling, call 1-800-GAMBLER or text GAMB to 833-234 or visit areyoureallywinning.com.
One thing I want to clear up, too. Oh, I'll do it after I tell you about Coors Light, but save Nate's comment for me.
Got it.
Thank you. Guess what I did yesterday, guys?
Have a Coors
Drank
Light?
Coors Light?
I drank several Coors Lights.
Yes, let's go.
That's a good day.
That's what I'm
It was
talking about.
It was a good day. The wife and I went out to Costco and picked up some burgers, some stuff to grill. They had really Costco these chicken sausages with black pepper and Parmesan, just delicious.
sounds
So
good.
fired up the grill. cracked open some nice cold Coors Lights, and you know what I did? I chose chill.
Yes.
I did.
good-
And Coors
it's a good
Light
choice.
is the best beer to use when you are choosing chill. Boy, those mountains are blue. There it is, blue as I've ever seen them. As blue as the stars and the stars and stripes, my friend.
Like a navy blue.
As blue as the Rangers elimination.
Ouch.
Yeah, that's very, very blue.
It's red hot in my world.
And when the mountains turn that blue, it's really cold as the Rockies. Coors Light is cold lagered, cold filtered, and cold packaged for a smoother finish. So when you embrace a chill mindset like I did yesterday, it's a good time to choose chill and crack open a Coors Light. Coors Light is mountain cold refreshment, crisp and refreshing as the Colorado Rockies. Make the most out of the times you choose to chill. Choose Coors Light. Get Coors Light delivered straight to your door with Instacart right now by going to CoorsLight.com/CHGO Hockey. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. One more thing on the broadcasting. Nate said the Athletic article said they won't have a streaming option yet. Not great, but if I can just use the antenna, it's a win. Specifically, what they're saying is they're not going to have their own streaming app. It doesn't mean it won't stream from YouTube or won't stream from Hulu or something like that. It just means that there's not going to be a standalone Chicago Sports Network
Chicago
app.
Sports Network.
Yeah, they're not going to have their own standalone app to start like Marquee does now.
I believe it's called Cheesin'.
Cheesin', okay. Or Chisin'.
I like cheesin'.
There's so much sports on this channel, we are chisin'.
There you go.
What could go wrong? All right, let's get to the mailbag, shall we?
Oh, my gosh. It's time for the mailbag.
It is.
This
Dragging this
was
one out all
just brought up, I believe, and so let's start here. RJK says, for the mailbag, why did the Rangers choke?
I don't think they choked.
Yeah, they just lost to a better team.
I think they finished probably where they probably should have. A top 4, top 6 team. Yeah, they were the President's Trophy winner this year, but they weren't the best team in the NHL. They were a team that relied a lot, especially in the first 2 rounds and the regular season, on really good special teams. They weren't a great 5-on-5 team for much of the season, and that's why they lost to the Panthers. They got dominated 5-on-5. They weren't getting the power play going, and their penalty kill started to falter. That's why they lost. Even as good as Shesterkin was,
Yeah.
you can use a lot more smoke and mirrors over the course of a regular season to get those points, but those smoke and mirrors tend to get discarded, especially in a conference final.
Yeah.
So I don't think they choked. They just weren't the better team.
And as Alex Ramos says, Keandre Miller ran out of gas. He was not the guy that he was during the regular season in this postseason, especially in this conference final series. And also, Jacob Trouba.
Not good.
What a horrible series he had.
He's not
Yeah.
good. He is
real bad.
He's
So
one of the most overrated players in the league.
when your bigger name defensemen are not showing up or becoming liabilities, that's going to be a problem.
Yeah. Imagine running out of gas in this day and age.
You know?
Shots fired.
Yep.
Can we get into that? What happened exactly?
I ran out of
missed the
gas.
story.
That's what happened.
I understand.
It's not that complicated, man.
It's
Right.
not that deep.
But like, how far did you have to walk? Like, I
So
want
when you're
details.
when you're 2.5 miles away from home, and your low fuel light pops on, and it's a fancy enough car that it'll calculate mileage that you have left, and it says 45 miles left to
Sure.
empty, you think, oh, well, 2.5 miles, no problem. Well, apparently in my car, that means 45 miles to empty means a half mile to empty.
Maybe you missed the
It was
decimal point.
4.5 miles.
No,
It was 0.45 miles.
No, it said 45 miles, so I thought no problem. So yes, my car ran out of gas. Luckily, I was only a half mile away from a gas station, so
So you got some steps in. It's all good.
I walked, got a 1 gallon gas can,
Love when you have
1
to buy
gallon
those.
of gas, walked it back.
How much
filled
did the can cost?
$15.
Yeah. That's for to get you.
Well, yeah, without it, you're screwed.
Yeah, I can't bring it back in my hands.
Yes,
It's
you
not
can.
gonna
Fill up a
work.
Slurpee cup.
Yeah, get a Slurpee for 99 cents. Fill up the cup.
I should have
pour
thought.
that
Yeah, I
in.
should have thought about that. Yeah,
Get a funnel, get a big gulp, you're good to go.
Yeah, that's only $4.
I didn't think about that. That's a good idea. Well, now I have
Next
it.
time you run out
now
of
I
gas,
have it.
do
Now
that.
I got a can in my car. I have one at home that
Yeah,
I
of
use for
course.
like my lawnmower and
Right.
stuff. But
Sure, I do too. Yeah.
yeah,
Just
Now you
keep,
gotta
you know what you do is keep a big gulp full of gas in your car at all times.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that seems
Just
like
right in a cup holder.
I won't pass out on the highway.
Right next to
ever.
your pack of cigarettes.
in my lighter.
There you go.
Yeah. So
All right, let's get serious.
There we go.
Okay,
That's
fine.
start
what
now.
happened.
Hockey
Fine.
time. Damn it.
Okay.
Tons of exercise
And
for
again,
me this week.
we are starting with questions from the Discord from
As
our
we do.
diehards, as we always do. Thank you very much, diehards. And this comes from our friend Charlie the Bacon Guy, who asks, which individual matchup are you looking forward to in the final? Why is it Matthew Tkachuk versus the Oilers fans?
Should be. Listen, there's some history there.
Oh, yeah.
Matthew Tkachuk, longtime Calgary Flame. Him and Evander Kane don't like each other. There's some other guys. You think of Sam Bennett, another former Flame, another guy that doesn't back off.
Yeah.
Evander Kane said the other day that it was kind of tough in the Dallas series because they weren't engaging in any of that after whistle stuff, the Stars. That's not going to be a problem with the Panthers.
Florida will engage you.
But
they will.
as Tanvir's 12 says, Barkov versus McDavid
be
is
awesome.
going to be fun because I heard this stat on the way in. This was courtesy of 32 Thoughts. In the first three rounds, Barkov's played roughly 90 minutes of ice time at 5-on-5 total against Kucherov, Pasternak, and Panarin. Just over 90 minutes 5-on-5 time against those three guys, and was only on the ice for one goal
God
against.
damn.
That's impressive.
You know what, Barkov?
Underrated.
Underrated.
No one ever says
Perennially
that about him.
underrated.
That goal Connor McDavid scored
Oh,
last
my
night.
God.
He did that to Miro Heiskanen.
Yeah.
That was like Bedardian almost.
Crazy. Yeah, almost.
Almost Bedardian.
Yeah. The McDavid versus Barkov matchup is going to be great. I think the goaltending matchup is going to be fascinating because we all going into the Dallas Edmonton series thought, well, there's your difference maker, Jake Ottinger versus Stuart Skinner, and then Stuart Skinner shows up just enough to get them over the hump.
He played the best game of his career last night.
Yeah.
And if he can ride that,
Yeah, it makes it interesting between him and Bobrovsky, and
it's the worst
Should be good.
worst goalie
sure,
the Panthers are going to face, which means
quote unquote.
Which means he's
Couple
gonna,
shutouts
He's going to have
and-
3
yeah.
shutouts and win the Conn Smythe.
Yeah,
This
it's
was
just
a team that wasn't going to beat Dallas.
Yeah. Now they're here.
Very few people picked Edmonton to beat Dallas. I did begrudgingly only because I picked them beginning. I wanted to pick Dallas, but I stuck with the Oilers and they rewarded me
Yeah.
with a trip to the Stanley Cup final.
Yep. I'm excited. This is gonna be a good final. And I picked the Stars to beat the Oilers in 5 games, but the Oilers found a different level.
yeah,
Like
they did.
defensively, physically, obviously Skinner was a lot better.
They've got
Uh,
depth. They've never had depth
Yeah.
before.
But just
They're
like
not
from
just
how they looked
relying-
against Vancouver and like, it was kind of.
They're not just relying on McDavid and
Yeah.
Draisaitl to do everything. They have depth. Windy City Hockey brought up a fun point. I didn't realize this till now. The top 4 overall picks of the
Yeah.
2014 are in this draft.
Yeah, yeah.
Aaron Ekblad went number 1 to the Panthers. Sam Reinhard went number 2 to the Sabres. Draisaitl 3 to the Oilers. And Sam Bennett 4th overall to the Calgary Flames. That's fun.
First time in NHL history.
And one thing I don't want to see, and we already started to see a little oh my God, this is so cool. I don't want any feel good stories about Corey Perry in the Stanley Cup final again.
No.
They were even joking about it on TNT. Like, oh, see, as soon as Edmonton signed Corey Perry, we should have all said they were going to the Stanley Cup final. Well, there was a reason he was allowed to sign with Edmonton, because he was a complete jackass here. Like, let's not have any feel good redemption stories about Corey Perry because he's ridden the Oilers' coattails into the Stanley Cup final.
It's funny how people's morals change when it's their team involved with the player. A lot of people had a lot of bad things to say about the Blackhawks during all that, and they've earned that, of course. But suddenly those same people seem to be rooting hard for the Oilers. Weird.
Yep.
Funny how that works. It's almost like they don't actually care.
They don't.
Right. All right.
All right. Well,
yeah.
you guys are talking a lot about the playoffs, the Stanley Cup final, and our next Discord member, Josh, says, when can we have Hawks playoff hockey again? I want it!
I don't know.
2 years.
2025, you say?
20,
Or 26?
25, 26.
So spring of 26. Get those playoff tickets now.
When may we have Blackhawks hockey again? think that's how you should say it.
When
right?
May? Whenever you want.
When may we have it? No, I'm just being a elementary school teacher, making a bad joke. I think 25-26, being optimistic, that'd be fun. 26-27. I think if we're not talking about playoff hockey by then, you're starting to get pretty itchy about Kyle Davidson's plan.
Time to reevaluate things. If we're sitting here in the summer of 2027 with no playoff games, it's time to start. But you have to look. I mean, it took Connor McDavid 9 years to get to a Stanley Cup final. You know, it took Evan Bouchard, 4-5 years to get to the point where he's at. You know, it takes time. Like, it's not going to happen overnight.
Evan Bouchard, who was drafted 2 spots after Adam Boqvist.
We don't want to talk about that.
Stop.
Well, it's a statistical fact.
Well,
Yep.
It is a fact.
and the the Columbus Blue Jackets are sad because they would have Evan Bouchard if he was around, because they would have traded him for Seth Jones.
Sure.
I think this year will dictate. I know it sounds obvious, but like when we see exactly what Nazar is, exactly what, we know what Bedard is, but like Korchinski, like what does that trajectory look like from these guys? Mm-hmm. And if they, if Nazar plays most of the year this year in Chicago and has a 40-point season, you can start to be like, all right, like you're starting to see light at the end of the tunnel.
Excited about that. Yeah.
And then you're adding hopefully Demidov next season.
Maybe.
Yeah,
and with Kyle Davidson expressing that, a season like last year and the year before is no longer acceptable, what is the standard he's setting? We'll see what that is when he makes some free agent signings or trades around the draft or anything like that. Like, is it, incremental improvements or is it a splash?
Well, and that's the thing. When we had Brian Campbell on last week, we kind of asked about that, and he said, well, it's kind of hard to say. It's so early. And if you look at some of the questions we've got coming up in the show today, like some of the names that are being asked about today were not even on the radar last week.
No. Because
teams get eliminated and people are unhappy and they think they need a shakeup. So we'll get to them as we go here. But it is a constantly – look, whichever team loses the cup this year is probably going to say, okay, we need to make some changes.
Maybe.
We need to shake things up. We need a little different bit of a look to win a cup here because Florida would have two shots on their own. If they don't win, they probably want to figure something out there. And same with Edmonton. They're running out of chances to win a cup. So there's always new opportunities. So I'm kind of glad that the Hawks don't have a roadmap built just yet on what the plan is going to be in a couple weeks here.
Yep.
All right, let's see here. Let's go with Gary Ross. Thank you, Gary, in the Discord. Mailbag question. He says, if you could undo one Blackhawks trade, what would it be and why? Could be from any generation. I will immediately say Jeremy Roenick.
That's a very good one.
It's for me, it's between Roenick, Belfour, and Chelios.
Yeah.
And while Roenick was my favorite, Chris Chelios went and played 100 more years after that trade, and the Hawks got nothing back.
Yeah.
At least Alexei Zhamnov was a serviceable player for the Hawks.
Wait, I lied. It actually is Chelios. I wrote an article about this back when I was in college when it happened, and that's the one that broke me. In the article, I was like, Roenick sucked, but yeah, it's definitely Chelios.
Like Anders Eriksson was...
they had two first-round picks.
They did nothing with.
And they biffed on both of them.
Yeah.
If one of those guys hits and becomes a 10-year NHL producer, then that trade doesn't look as bad.
Right.
But they swung and missed on both of those picks.
Yeah.
Chelios is a good one.
Didn't get much for Belfour either.
I think the Phil Esposito one is one they probably want to erase.
That's pretty bad.
Because you probably win a couple of those Stanley Cup finals against the Montreal Canadiens in the 70s if Phil Esposito's on your team. Chelios, Roenick, those from my childhood. One I would mention from the recent run, I would love to have reversed the Philip Deneau for...
Just looked it up.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thomas Fleischman and Dale Weiss.
Philip Deneau to the Canadiens, plus a second-round pick that became Alexander Romanov. That would have been nice.
Stud.
For Tomas Fleischman and Dale Weiss.
That actually worked out because Alexander Romanov helped us get Frank Nazar. Wasn't he the guy that the Canadians traded in the Kirby Dach trade? Or no, I'm thinking of... Who am I thinking of?
Yeah, no,
they
I think
traded
you're
him
right.
to the Islanders.
Yeah, you're right.
They got Kirby Dach, and we got Frank Nazar. So that pick actually came back to help us.
Yes, Romanov to the Islanders, for the 13th pick, which was Frank Nazar.
All right.
So, yeah.
We're getting
But I still would rather have Philip Deneau than the rentals of Tomas
Yes.
Fleischman and Dale Weiss.
That were
Absolutely.
basically scratched most of
Which
the time.
did nothing.
And did nothing.
Yes.
Yeah. Correct.
Okay.
All right.
We're being yelled at to get to the break.
Well,
zone.
not
break zone.
Yeah, I didn't know if Mario saw it.
I see it.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
I see it.
He asks us a question and immediately pulls the break zone.
Yeah, it was meant as a after.
What do you guys think about this?
Break zone. After the answer, I just didn't know if Mario would.
Right after this ad read, we will answer your
Yeah,
question.
Lawrence, you need to choose chill. Oh, wait, wrong one. No,
Sure.
you need to go to Sunnyside
Definitely.
and chill out.
Definitely.
And what is Sunnyside? Well, it's the Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensary, your home for judgment-free cannabis shopping, a place where all kinds of visitors are welcome to explore, discover, and purchase a wide array of high-quality products. Sunnyside has everything you need to elevate your summer. Some of the amazing features of Sunnyside are making them a one-stop shop for all of your cannabis needs. Sunnyside has an expertly curated menu with over 100 strains to choose from, plus easy online ordering and in-store pickup. You can go to some of your favorite locations across Illinois. They have locations right here in the city, in Wrigleyville and in River North, and also in the suburbs, locations in Champaign, South Beloit, many more for you to
Elmwood
discover.
Park.
What's that?
Elmwood Park, right down the street.
There you go. Yeah. Tons of locations for you to discover and explore your cannabis needs. And if you're starting out, Sunnyside has expert guidance and brands that they know you'll love, like the Good News and Mindy's. Jay likes those.
I do.
So head
preferred
over
brands.
to sunnyside.shop and use the code HICHGO. That's HICHGO, as in hi, hello. Do that at checkout, and you're going to get 35% off of your favorite brands like the Good News and the Mindy's and the Cresco and so many more to elevate your first purchase. Again, that is the Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensary. Bright buys every day, only for those 21 and older or Illinois medical card holders.
It's grilling season.
Yes.
Get your pork. Pork!
Yes.
Exclamation point. People who are active, like us, need more protein than the average
Mario
American.
Walked half a mile.
I was not being sarcastic.
I don't want to get into it because I don't want to derail this, but I have been so physically active the last 3 days. It is insane. I need some
Pork it up.
Yes. Someone
Never mind.
Yeah,
Pork
I need
yourself.
to get some pork. That's true.
Anyway, active people like us need more protein than the average American. In fact, the fabulous folks at the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics, the geniuses at the Dietitians of Canada, and the studs at the American College of Sports Medicine recommend 1.2 to 2 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight per day for athletes, depending on training. So, for a 150-pound person, a.k.a. third grade J, that's about 81 to 136 grams of protein per day. One 3-ounce serving of pork provides 23 grams of high-quality protein that can help active individuals like us build and preserve muscle. And the wonderful people at the International Society of Sports Nutrition recommend that people who are involved in a general fitness program or who are interested in optimizing their health eat low-fat, high-quality sources of protein. Guess what, folks? Yeah, that includes lean cuts of pork. So elevate your protein game with lean pork, a powerhouse of natural goodness. Savor the flavors, savor the gains, and celebrate any occasion by enjoying the best pork produced by Illinois pig farmers. From your sausage to your bacon for breakfast to pulled pork or juicy chops right off the grill, it's an entire season dedicated to pork and the people behind the product, paid for by the Illinois pork producers. Generations of commitment.
Pork.
Pork. It's
Pork.
what's for dinner, right?
I hope so.
That the old statement, Herb?
That was.
Yep, Herb's got me. Thank you.
Was that not the other one?
The other white meat.
Cow.
Baby.
Pork? It can be pork.
Okay.
now.
Let's get back to
Trademark.
Mailbag Monday, which, of course, still trademarked.
Yes.
A couple
Yep,
more questions
we mentioned
from the Discord. Let's go with this one from
Oh, this
our
is a long
friend
one.
Windy City Hockey. A lot of words.
Oh, you cut out the picture. Or
Not
is that
yet.
coming next?
Settle
Never
down.
mind. My
Settle
bad. Sorry. Spoiler alert.
Since the Blackhawks have done almost everything possible for a throwback already, the Blackhawks do have a cool, almost not known history as well as how the team was made. What were your guys' thoughts be on a Winter Classic jersey inspired by the Portland Rosebuds?
Love it.
The Rosebuds was the team that was folded and the founder of Hawks purchased those players' contracts to form the first of the Blackhawks roster. Here's a concept I threw together quickly, and for those of you watching on YouTube, boom! Check that out from Windy City Hockey.
That's cool.
That's
Nice work.
I kind of like that. I could dig that.
Also, nice work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great job.
I would send that to Fanatics. Your resume to Fanatics.
Yeah, it'll say
because,
Blarkhorks, but it's a good concept.
no, I meant so he could work for Fanatics and
Oh,
do
okay.
it better than they
And do a better
Yeah.
job, yeah.
Yeah, but some callback to the Rosebuds would be cool. I think there's a lot of people that have no idea about that and the ties to Portland.
That's true. Yeah.
It is a very cool team name. Is in the soccer team, the Portland Thorns?
Right.
Portland Timbers, right?
I'm thinking of the women's team.
NWSL is the Thorns,
Yeah.
and
Thorns.
the Timbers is the MLS.
Both are very cool names, but yeah, any
Are
sort.
roses big in Portland? Is that something I,
guess
didn't
so.
know?
It is,
Would this be
Oregon-
Portland,
yeah.
Maine, though? Wouldn't this be the
No,
Rosebuds
it
be
was
from
Portland, Oregon.
They had a hockey team in Oregon
Yeah.
in like 1900.
I mean, they had a hockey team
They
in
still have
Seattle
a-
in the
they-
1900s before.
They won a Stanley Cup. No,
They won a championship.
Yeah, they won a champ, but
Yeah.
it was the Stanley Cup. It just wasn't.
See,
the,
I need to learn
NHL.
too.
Yeah,
Let's get the
I like the
Rosebud
idea.
jersey.
The more you can throw it back and teach people about the origins of the team, the better. So yeah, I like that idea a lot. When
Yeah,
you see hockey.
some sort of historical nod in that way would be pretty cool.
All right, last one from the Discord, and I know earlier we were talking about Stu Skinner, and every time you guys say the name Skinner, I just immediately think of Superintendent Chalmers saying
Yeah.
Skinner. Yeah.
Super
So this
Nintendo
is from
Chalmers.
AJ, who says, "Look, enough about Demidov and Levshinov
I
for now.
agree.
Favorite Simpsons episode and or moment?
Oh man,
I mean, this could go on for the next 400 hours.
I think I have
Simpsons did it.
a tie for my two favorites. I'm a big fan of the softball episode,
yep, on the list.
and the gay steel mill episode is fantastic too.
Hot stuff coming through.
It's a great episode. Those are my two favorites, but there's so many great. We were at a barbecue over Memorial Day weekend, and the neighbor's house that we were at had a big trampoline. So every time one of the kids would come over and go, "Hey, can I go play on the trampoline?" I'd go, "Trampoline!" I can never.
With my trampoline. Yeah, love it.
The softball one is that's like a given. I think that's one that everybody loves. I love Last Exit to Springfield, which is where's the season? It doesn't matter. Look it up. It's the one where Homer becomes Union Kingpin,
Yeah,
which is a
good
great one.
That's a
And
good
then
one,
that's
yeah.
dental plan. Lisa
Yeah.
needs braces. It's that one. And then the monorail episode is
Yeah,
great too.
monorail. for
Monorail's
sure.
good. Yeah, so many good ones. Notice how none of our picks are like past season 6.
No.
Unless
they don't
Mario's
need to be.
favorites from like season 3.
No, my favorite is the baseball one.
Yeah.
Just because it's, I love that they got all of those guys
Yeah.
to do the cameos and do their own voices and stuff like in their primes, and it would be amazing. I would love for, like, I always think about like how would they do that? Yes.
Sorry, I was just looking at one of the comments and laughing to myself.
I always think like who would be the players that would like do that now?
Oh yeah.
You know, and how cool that would be. But yeah, I love that episode.
It's a good one. I still quote it even where they're like, I watched that Peacock documentary on the 1990 Yankees, which I recommend to anybody. It's absolutely insane. But one of the guys they interview for is Steve Sachs, who is jacked. Dude is huge.
Really? Got some of that growth hormone from Crane Griffey Jr.
But every time he would pull up on the screen, I'm like, well, I'm so glad he finally got over that unfortunate run-in with the law he had.
I heard there was an unsolved murder in New York. You don't know anything about that, do you, sexy boy? Yeah, that's a great one. Yeah, we were laughing at Gary Ross, who said he's never seen a single Simpsons episode and doesn't want to.
Okay.
That's a very odd flex to just like.
Yeah,
he says, "I just don't get it." Well, you haven't seen it.
Yeah, that's.
It's like one of the major cultural milestones of the last 50 years.
that says
cultural
more about
milestone.
you, Gary.
That's just like
The
a blank
Simpsons.
spot for you. There's probably so many jokes people have told you that you don't get. That's sad.
I will say I'm not super deep into The Simpsons,
You're too young.
but I've watched a good number of episodes to like get most of the references and the high points of the series.
The Simpsons is one of those shows we put on the TV when we go to bed at night. We always like to have the TV running. And we always get it, and we always, when we get to like season 10, we just start back at season 1.
Yeah,
it was like
I do that with Family Guy.
one of these years, I'm actually going to watch all those other Simpsons episodes, but this just isn't the year.
Yeah.
Favorite bit, though, is when they have to go to witness protection, and they're trying to teach Homer Simpson that his new name is Homer Thompson. And they're like, okay, so when we call you Mr. Thompson, you say hello. Hello, Mr. Thompson. And Homer just sits there blankly, like not getting the concept. And they cut to it, and they've got their sleeves rolled up. Everybody's smoking. There's like Chinese food on the table. Everyone's exhausted, trying to explain. Okay, Homer, when we say hello, Mr. Thompson, you just smile and nod. Hello, Mr. Thompson. I think he's talking to you. It's just like, it's such a great scene. It's so dumb.
The Hank Scorpio episode.
That is a great one, too.
The Denver Broncos.
Hey,
Aww.
if you don't mind killing an assassin on your way out.
Oh, I mean, this is 1,000 monkeys typing the best manuscript ever. It was the best of times. It was the blurst of times. Come on. Come on, everybody.
Well, it's because Conan O'Brien and my humor Venn diagram are a perfect circle. So the ones that he was involved with are just awesome. They're so great.
Was he like a writer?
He's a writer, yeah.
Wow. Okay, I never knew
for
that.
the first few
He
seasons.
went SNL to Simpsons to TV, to late night host.
That's a
What a
pretty
deal.
good career.
Oh,
Yeah.
the B sharps. Oh, I mean, yeah.
Sure,
we
yeah,
could
so
just
many
keep
good
going
ones.
and going. All right, well, let's get back to
Yeah,
more
let's do
serious
it.
questions for Gary and the like. This is from Scott on the Twitter bird, Explorer Travel. Latest flyer, Ottawa wanted to get rid of Brady Tkachuk for draft capital. How many picks would you trade for the other brother?
There's a quote from Steve Stais, who is the president of hockey operations and GM of the Senators. Quote, complete BS. We are building this team around Brady. His leadership and unique skill set are rare. There is absolutely no validity to it. That was May 27th to Pierre LeBrun. Brady Tkachuk is not going anywhere.
No.
That said, yes, I would like to trade for him.
Yeah, sure. If
It's
he
not
was
going to
available,
happen.
but he's not available.
Well, what would you give up were he available? Future draft capital. So
You give up 18 and another first.
it's not enough. I don't think.
I don't think so either.
I don't think the Senators, because this isn't this isn't the old regime. I don't think the Senators budge if you don't start with number 2 overall this year.
Right.
I don't do
yeah.
that.
I wouldn't do that either.
Just
If the
'cause
Hawks
of the
were,
timeline.
if the
Yeah.
Hawks were one Brady Tkachuk away from winning it all, sure.
Sure.
But
Yeah.
if they
Yeah.
were one Brady Tkachuk away from winning it all, they wouldn't have the second overall draft pick either.
Right, exactly.
Right. Yeah.
So, yeah.
It just doesn't fit the timeline.
That's correct.
You'd
If
probably
he's
have
available
to go,
in 2 years, hell yeah, go for
Well,
it.
let's say like the Hawks were in the state, like if they were like the Minnesota Wild, right? Like that kind of a roster, and then they had gotten the number 2 pick by some luck, then you would consider trading number 2 for Brady Tkachuk.
I think so, yeah.
To add another stud to your team to maybe get you
if they were in
a
that
little over the
boat,
hump.
you'd probably have to go number 2 this year, your first pick next year, and maybe another first or second round pick, and then I think you're having a conversation.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
in the current
but-
state of the Blackhawks, no. But if you're right there from being a contender and you want to do that for Brady Tkachuk, I think that's what you'd have to do.
This is the new out-of-town dollar jar, is the Brady Tkachuk. Because it's just not...
The thing is, it's like, and I'm not directing this at Scott, who asked the question. Thank you for
Sure.
your question, Scott.
Of course not.
I just love I hear this, I hear that. Well, you're hearing wrong.
Yeah.
Until Elliot Friedman or tweets it out.
Well,
or Frank Saravalli
yeah.
that says there's talk. My sources say the Ottawa Senators are looking to move. Until you see one of those guys say it,
Yeah.
it's probably not happening.
Usually, yeah.
And just remember all the
Or
the
Jordan
bona
Schmaltz.
fide news that was around the Corey Perry situation, how everyone had this, I heard from this guy that this is what happened, and there's text messages. Nope, none of it was true. None of it was true. Trust the trusted newsmakers. Not just in hockey.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Ugh. Okay. Let's go to Tom Quinn at Tinley Irish Hawk. Seeing a lot of Rangers fans acting like Toronto fans and wanting to blow the whole thing up. That includes getting rid of Trouba.
No.
Would you have any interest in him coming to the Hawks? For the
No.
record,
That
I
is a
wouldn't.
Mark Messier Leadership Award winner, guys.
That's a good point.
That's fine.
I hadn't thought of that. Still no.
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 Next question.
No, the Blackhawks do not need an $8 million declining defenseman who is can put his team in bad positions by leading with his elbow rather than his heart.
Yeah, or apparently just missing people altogether.
Yeah, and also
goals.
missing assignments. Yeah, that too.
Yeah, that's a hard note. You guys still have to remind me. I have to tell you that my Jacob story, Truba, that commercial that he's in.
Yeah.
I still have a story to tell you off the air, though. I'm not sharing that one on
Write
air.
it down.
Take that, people watching
Not
the stream.
safe for work.
Yes.
Truba story.
I don't.
All right.
Yeah, I don't need to get canceled.
Ask Greg.
All right.
Put it in my calendar.
All right, another name that someone's asking about. This is from Chicago sports guy at Michael String of Numbers. Two-part question. Thoughts about bringing in Capo Caco and thoughts on Carter Yakemchuk that maybe trade up into the 9 to 12 range.
First part, I don't think the Rangers are excited to try and get rid of him. I think he's still an RFA?
He's an RFA, so they would
Yeah.
either have to non-qualify him or trade his rights.
Right.
So you'd have to give up something to get
Just
him.
to talk to him. I think that's kind of sailed.
He was the year after Lafreniere, right?
Yes.
Before.
He was number 2 behind Jack Hughes.
So it was the year before.
It was
Lafreniere.
year
Year before
He's 23.
Lafreniere. Yeah.
He will be 24 in February.
And is he ever going to live up to being the number 2 overall pick?
No.
No, but is he we need to get him out of here, he's a bust? No. He's just kind of figuring it out in a lower role than a number 2 overall pick would like to be playing, but it's not. I don't think he's in a position now where the Rangers need to get rid of him because he's more of a detriment than he is actually doing something good for them.
He took a little bit of a step backwards this year. Last year he played in all 82 games. That's been another part of his problem is he's had injuries. Last year he played in all 82 games, had 18 goals, 40 points, career highs across the board.
Yeah.
This year only 61 games, 13 goals, 19 points. So half the point production in 21 fewer games. Dude was getting scratched in a conference finals to play Matt Rempe. That says a lot.
Okay,
I
but
think there is like
there's a weird
little bit of a Rempe like mind virus happening though, like where they're kind of like, oh, this is what we need. I don't know.
I don't know. For a coach like
just-
Peter Laviolette to fall
wouldn't
for that
think so,
nonsense
but-
surprised me. But if you're the guy that has to sit so the masses can be contempt that they get their 4 minutes of Matt Rempe, that speaks volumes that they might be done. I don't
Yeah.
know. Even if he is and you got to trade for him, I'm not interested. I don't want to give up anything for.
It depends what I mean. If they're going to give him up for like a third or a fourth, like all right, I'll take a flyer, but I'm not giving up anything.
I'd rather see
incredibly
if
valuable.
they just walk away and say no, we're not going to give you a qualifying offer, and all it costs you is money for a 1 year prove it deal. Fine,
That'd
I'm
be
not
great.
giving up any assets for him at this point.
All right.
Sure.
And
And what was the other part? Oh,
Yeah, the other part was
Yakemchuk.
about Yakemchuk.
I just don't see them getting up in that range.
Yeah.
That's the biggest problem.
We've done the who would trade out of that range game,
the
and I don't
answer
really
is
think
nobody.
there's really anybody that's going to do it. You're not going to have him fall to you at 18, likely. I mean, we saw Oliver Moore fall last year, but if they try to get to like 15, maybe you got a chance at him, but I don't think he's going to be there at 18.
For what it's worth, Elite Prospects dropped their draft guide today, which is 7 million pages. It is literally 1,904 pages.
It's a lot of.
They have Carter Yakemchuk ranked as 17th in the draft.
Right there.
All right.
So you're saying there's a chance?
Yeah, there's a chance. Yeah, of course. There's a chance. Anything
I just
can
think
happen. I
there's
just
going to be there'll be that run on defense.
Yeah.
Where the first couple guys will be off the board, and then teams are going to be panicked. We have to get a defenseman now, and
You
he's
want
going
to
to
get
be
him,
gone.
you got to get him fast. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I would
Just like the kicker run in your fantasy
he would
football draft.
Yeah, exactly like that. He'd be great. I mean, it'd be like having another Korchinski, which is not a bad thing. And off the top of my head, I believe he's right-handed. Jay, if you
Yes,
have
he
that?
is.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I mean, you got a right-handed Korchinski to pair with a left-handed Korchinski, all gas, no brakes. Like, Fun. That'd be fun.
Who's going to play defense in that?
No
pair,
one.
though?
No one has to. Not when you're scoring every shift.
Those will be 100% offensive zone start pairing.
Yeah. No, he'd be good. If he ended up being the pick, whether he falls to 18 or they move up and get him, I'm not going to be upset with it. He's a quality offensive defenseman, and just like Korchinski, we'll need time for that full, well-rounded defensive game to come around. But the Blackhawks have some time. So.
All right, we have a super chat that jumps to the headline. This is from Brian Lowe, who asks, if you were GM, would you want out of the Jones contract, and what would it take? Also, who would you target to replace him?
I mean, that's my answer. My short answer is no. At this point, the contract isn't hindering you. It's not preventing you from doing anything. It might in the future, but let that play out.
Yeah.
So my short answer to that is no, I'm not interested in getting out from under it right now because I don't think it's the burden that people want to say it is.
And then you're going to have to also find someone to replace him.
Yes. And we found when he was hurt, that's very hard to do.
Who would you get to replace him?
Cale Makar.
Oh.
Yeah. Is he around?
Seth Jones for Cale Makar, straight up, done.
I would do
Kyle
that.
I would make that trade. I'd make that.
They got to mix things up.
They need more leadership there. They can't. They keep losing in the first and second round.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think that contract is in a spot where it's preventing you from doing anything that you want to do because the Blackhawks are not currently in a position where they need to.
Right. He's helping you
flirt
hit the
with the cap. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, if we're talking 2 years down the road, 2-3 years down the road, and let's say in the scenario that the salary cap isn't making the leaps and bounds that it's expected to, then you start looking in the mirror and like, all right, where are we at with Seth? Where's he at in his contributions to the team? And what could you do with that contract? I still don't think you're, with any term besides maybe 1 or 2 years left, I don't think you're able to move that deal. And buying it out is a horrible decision because you're going to be paying it forever.
It's Bobby Bonilla Day.
Yeah.
I mean, you could also, once it becomes a problem, you can buy it out.
Right.
Sure.
But there's no need to do it now.
No, it's not a problem.
No.
And, if it's 3-4 years from now and the salary cap is a little tighter and all your young defensive prospects have hit their potential or beyond, and you could say we don't necessarily, he becomes expendable.
Yeah.
Then you can make a look. But, we saw when he was out for those few games this year with the shoulder injury, how actually valuable he is to this team. I mean, if he had Connor Murphy's contract, he'd be celebrated.
Yeah, and
the contract is not his fault.
It's also not absurdly an overpay. It's like $1.5 million too much.
It's not preventing the Blackhawks for doing anything.
Right. Yeah, Seth Jones is a $7.5 million defenseman.
Right.
Yeah,
I'd say that's pretty fair.
This isn't the Brent Seabrook contract where he was in the decline and you were right up against the salary cap and you had to let talented players go because no one was taking that contract. Right. It's not the deterrent that people think it is. When it's time to start giving these young players lots and lots of money, there won't be that much left on the deal. Hopefully the salary cap is up a little more, and then maybe you get to that. You cross that bridge when you get to it. But right now, there's no reason to move him.
Speaking of Brent Seabrook,
he's still a damn good player.
1 month away from his contract being over.
Hey.
Retirement being official.
Perhaps another jersey announcement made.
Does a 1 day contract happen this year?
I think so.
I think so too.
I think so.
Let's go.
If they can get him out of the coach's room.
Let's get him over here.
That's true. Where's he coaching?
He was coaching up in the
Vancouver
WHL
Giants, right?
Vancouver. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, Brian caps that off with another super chat. Thank you, Brian. He's laughing at. He said, "Let me talk to the Avs GM and I'll get her."
Yeah.
Appreciate you, Brian. Thank you.
Brian.
Right.
All right, back to the mailbag, and let's go with this question from CSC, which is at Hawks Spos Fins. If you had to package Moore or Nazar in a deal for an established star, say Marner, would you? And who are you trading of the two?
I'm not. I think I would, if I had to. I mean, we've seen Nazar play NHL games. I think Nazar is going to be has the higher ceiling than Oliver Moore does, but that's not to say that Oliver Moore can't be as good of a player at the NHL level that Frank Nazar could be. I guess I would trade Moore, but neither one of those guys I want to give up. I feel like Kyle Davidson squarely has them in their plans. You don't try and move up from 19 into the top 10 at last year's draft for a guy that a year or two later you'd be like, we'll trade him. You don't trade into the first round in the 2022 draft and get Frank Nazar to then trade him away.
Right.
Like those are guys that they targeted, they wanted, and they see as part of what's going to be the next era of Hawks hockey.
Right. And
I don't know. I mean, it depends on what else you would have to put with it. But if it's Oliver Moore and 18 for Mitch Marner, we don't know what Oliver Moore is. I mean, there's a reason he fell to 18. Like it's
we
can't
fall
fall into the trap of like
if the Leafs are accepting Oliver Moore in 18 for Marner,
if it comes with an extension.
Yeah, of course.
Right.
I think I hope that's assumed.
I don't.
But yeah.
I don't.
I really don't want to trade either of those guys. It would have to be for somebody, like just like we talked about with earlier about the timing not being right. To trade for Brady Tkachuk, the timing's probably not right to trade one of those guys for Mitch Marner because you don't know what you have in those guys. You're not trying to win a Stanley Cup next year. If it was 3 years from now and we're a Mitch Marner type player away and you have a top prospect, then you move him.
Well,
these are guys you've already traded to get or specifically targeted. You've checkmarked them as cornerstones of your franchise. Whether they become that or not, we don't know. But, and as Lebowski 5 says, like, there's no guarantee. Like, why trade for Mitch Marner if he's going to be a free agent next year and you could just pay him cash?
I mean, yeah,
you don't know if he's going to be. And I think that also makes him, that fact makes him maybe a little more attainable.
I don't think Mitch Marner is waiving his no trade clause this summer. He loves being treated like a god in Toronto.
He's not treated like a god there anymore, though.
Well,
people don't
in
like
his mind.
He has become an enemy.
Listen, they're going to run it back again. It's going to be the same guys again. You watch. He's not. I don't think he's going to want to get traded, and then, if he becomes a free agent, maybe make a run at him. Otherwise, I don't want to trade Nazar more. And yeah, am I overvaluing our prospects? Probably. We're all guilty of that. But, like you traded Kirby Dach to get that pick for Frank Nazar, and then
I'm not trading Nazar.
And then you trade him without him being proved. No, you traded Brandon Hagel to get the trade to get Oliver Moore. You were trying to trade up to get Oliver Moore.
All of this happened though before you got the number 2 pick this year.
Right.
And if you're going to draft Demidov, you have Bedard, Demidov, Nazar, and Moore, 4 smallish, highly skilled forwards, which is
Mitch Marner is a
Marner's
smallish,
not a
highly
big guy.
skilled forward,
but he's proven. And
To a
he
degree.
and Alan Kay is comparing. He says Marner is a year older than DeBrincat, and Davidson traded DeBrincat by the time the team was a contender. Marner is a much better player than Alex DeBrincat. He's a better all-around player than Alex DeBrincat. Like, it's hard to. I don't know. I see what you're saying, but I worry that we're falling into this trap of every player we have is going to be great.
If the trade is Oliver Moore for Martin Necas, I'm a little more open to that.
Then Marner.
Yes, because Necas is bigger, he's younger, and cheaper.
I don't think we have to worry about either, but I don't know. I don't.
This
I know
team's
we all love like Oliver Moore's personality is great. I love the skill set. We haven't seen him play in the NHL at all. And you gotta, if you're gonna get something of value, you're gonna bring in an all-star, a perennial all-star kind of a player.
But they don't need him right now.
It's gonna cost you.
They don't need this trade. Doesn't need to be made now.
Well, I think it accelerates things because you got Bedard, and now you landed number 2. Things are different than they were a year ago at this time. Kyle Davidson, looking at this year, probably wasn't thinking he was going to get the number 2 pick this year, and I think that changes some things, and it changes the outlook a little bit. And I think if Demidov comes to the NHL next year, which is the expectation, and that's the pick, it's different. It's a different thing. I don't know. I think it does accelerate things. If Connor Bedard cut a year off, what does Demidov cut off to?
We have to wait and see.
Yeah.
And if those guys are as good as advertised and they're all here, those bigger forwards, skilled forwards, will be calling Kyle Davidson to come and play here. And one thing before we get to the next question, our Raider pal, Google sarcasm. It's gonna help you a lot watching this show. Google sarcasm.
Yes.
I just responded saying, fire bad.
Like, yes, we know.
All right.
That's not going to happen.
Michael Evans threw a $5 super chat our way to say, thoughts on Pavelski on the Hawks and maybe Suter as your 7th or 6th D-man? No. Or are we past the time?
Saying no to a Badger?
Yeah, you had me in the first half.
Mario loves
you lost
Joe
me in the
Pavelski.
second half. I don't like Ryan Suter as much as I love Joe Pavelski.
I think Mario's love for Joe Pavelski runs deeper than your love for Phil Kessel.
Okay. The Kessel and Stamkos love is partial bit. I truly love Joe Pavelski.
I think you've worked yourself into true love for Phil Kessel.
I mean, I love Phil Kessel. No, Joe Pavelski is always one of those guys that like I would give up Oliver Moore and Frank Nazar for Joe Pavelski. That's how much I love him.
Thank God you're not GM.
Well, he had 27 goals and 40 assists this year for Dallas.
As a 40-year-old.
Yeah. In the playoffs, he had 4 points in 19 games.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, sometimes you run out of gas, right?
Yeah.
It happens often.
Happens to the best of us.
Even Babe Ruth ran out of gas once.
Yeah, I don't want Ryan Suter. He is the
reason
original
we started
Pudwack.
The Pudwack. Yes, he is the origin of Pudwackdom here.
But yeah, Joe Pavelski. If he continues playing, it's not going to be in Chicago because he wants to win a cup, and he's not going to do it on a 1-year deal here in Chicago. And I would love it. It's not going to happen.
All right, let's do one more, and then we'll get to the rest tomorrow. This is an important one.
This is a good one because we mentioned it in the description that no one reads. So this is from Kevin Zunick, who's at the Blue Kazoo. Corn or flour tortillas for tacos?
Oh.
Corn.
I have to have corn, otherwise it's going to be a bad time.
Yes.
So
You will have extra gas and other surprises.
Yeah. No, corn. Corn's good stuff.
I do like a nice flour tortilla for white people taco night.
Well, I was going to say for like a fish taco.
Yeah, fish taco's got to be flour.
I don't eat fish tacos.
No?
Oh,
No.
they're
missing
I'm not
out.
a seafood guy.
God, they're delicious.
I don't like seafood.
Well, you
Pescado.
got to get over that.
Yeah, go with corn.
I don't have to do shit, Lawrence.
You were just on a boat yesterday.
Yeah,
What
I
are
don't
you
like
doing?
seafood. I didn't grab fish and eat
Just
it.
because you go on a boat doesn't mean you like
Well,
seafood.
it should.
It doesn't. I can do whatever I like. Corn tortillas.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Yep.
More
I
flavor.
go with corn.
Though I don't mind. Like, I think I'm weird because it's like corn for tacos, flour for burritos because flours are a little more sturdy.
I don't think there is a
You
corn
can't
burrito
really
shell, is there?
No.
No. I don't think there is.
I've looked for it. It doesn't exist.
Yeah, they're not
It would
sturdy
rip.
enough.
It would fall
Yeah,
apart.
it's yeah.
There's nothing worse than when a burrito explodes on you.
And then if you make
While you're eating
a
it.
corn burrito is basically a taquito, right? Because it's just like a corn flour wrapped up
Yeah,
stuff.
Yeah.
It's smaller. Yeah.
Yeah, corn's the answer. I mean, go to any Chicago tortilleria.
El
Tortilleria.
Milagro. I got to get back there.
I will
God.
go. It's not far.
I know. I just keep. I gotta go. Brian Lowe, who has been throwing a super chat, says the restaurant he works at does a deadly flour tortilla fish taco.
Is that good or bad?
Is that a good thing? Let's go.
Do I want to die?
A deadly fish
no,
taco
meaning,
could be.
I think deadly meaning
Speaking
like.
of
I'm
Simpsons
going back to the
episode.
Simpsons where we ate the puffer fish. Well, guess what? There's no bad taco. Only
Yes, there
bad
are.
people.
There are bad tacos.
Love a good taco.
Not around here, though.
No.
All pretty good.
All right. Well, I guess
I'm going to go to El Milagro tomorrow just to piss you off.
Are you
I'm going to bring it in
bringing-
and eat it in front of you.
I mean, you could offer to pick a couple
It's
up for
Taco
me.
Tuesday.
You're right. I could do that.
It is Taco Tuesday tomorrow.
I
That's
could do
true.
that.
It's also
All right.
Mailbag Monday on a Tuesday tomorrow.
Yeah.
It is. We got a lot of mail to get to
Still-
tomorrow.
Still a
Yes.
heavy sack.
As long as we're done by 3 o'clock on Wednesday with all these questions.
Yeah, we'll be fine.
I think we'll make it there.
Because our pal,
We will.
our friend,
Oh, yeah.
Darren Pang will be joining us at 3 o'clock on Wednesday.
Hello.
Halfway through the
I should make a
Wednesday
graphic.
show, Darren Pang will be calling in from Michigan. We're going to get him off the golf course long enough for him to preview the Stanley Cup final, maybe put a bow on the Blackhawks season. So can't wait for Panger to join us.
Holy
There you
jumping.
go. If you like that, smash the like button. If you like tacos, smash the like button. if you smash the like button, it will help Raiderstein understand sarcasm. So lots of good reasons to smash the thumbs
Need
up
a lot
button.
more. Going to need a lot more likes, I think.
All right, we are back tomorrow at 2:30 to continue the mailbag. As Greg said, Darren Pang on Wednesday. We think we're going to talk to our pal Petey on Friday for a cup preview. So lots of good stuff coming this week. We appreciate you being with us again. Smash that like button on your way out. Make sure you're subscribed and leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify if you so please. We would really, really appreciate that. So we'll talk to you Tuesday on the CHGO Blackhawks Podcast.
Fire bad. We all silly like the mayor.